Hey y'all, I'm back with another Cephalid Breakfast Legacy League, and for this video I'm playing a bit of a classic list at this point on the channel. It's going to be 4 Tamiyo, I do have Savannah in the list, and otherwise pretty traditional breakfast list with the 4 Cephalids and Nadus, 2 Dazes, and in the sideboard a lot of familiar stuff including the 1 Cauldron, 3 Macabres, 2 Endings both in the sideboard. And I have some exciting stuff that I'll be doing soon. I definitely want to get some leagues in with Voice of Victory, and I'm going to be doing a Yorion league pretty soon as well, so that's going to be fun. But today I wanted to have just this good old list. My last 3 leagues have all been 4-1s with it, and it's been feeling really good. And you know, if I had to play a big tournament tomorrow, I would definitely play something pretty similar to this, if not this exact list. Let's see how it does in this league. I'm on the play round 1 versus an opponent who I've played a lot. They're very likely going to be on Dimir Reanimator or something of that variety. I'm going to keep this hand. I'm likely to just start with Saga. If it gets wastelanded, no big deal. But maybe if it gets wastelanded, I'll be able to more easily justify cracking this for a Surveil land or something like that. And with Force of Will in hand, I kind of want to get this game over. My opponent has an Underground Sea turn 1, and it looks like I'm getting Thought Seized. So it'll be very revealing what they take here. I feel like you either must take Illusionist or Force of Will. Alright, they took 1 copy of Nadu. Very interesting. Another Illusionist. So I think the plan is to cast Cephalid Illusionist on back-to-back turns. The one downside of this is if they can Entomb Reanimate on the next turn backed up by a Daze. Okay, they can Daze this. That's fine. Maybe that was where I force. But if they have Wasteland and take out the Saga, I won't have a Shuko to pair with that. So it's fine. Reanimating my Nadu is totally cool. I would love another land so there's not another Daze held up. Okay, my own Daze. Very good. Well, I love my chances right now. Cephalid Illusionist. Alright, my opponent scoops it up. They know I have Force of Will. They didn't know I had the Daze, and I'm glad that I didn't have to reveal that. So lately when sideboarding versus Reanimator, I've been boarding out 3 Nadu just to reduce basically what they're able to reduce the strength of their cards like Thought Seize and Reanimate. I don't want them to be able to Thought Seize my Nadu and then their Reanimate is live. Like they should, if they're going to have Reanimate be a good card, they need to put something in the bin themselves. And if they do, hopefully I'll have some premium graveyard hate waiting for them. I'll take out the 2 Dazes. And I'm actually going to, for the last card, take out a Swords. I'm trying to think of what I did the last time. Oh, I still need to get Flusterstorm in there. So I think I'll take out 1 Force for the Fluster. Yeah, I'm trying to think what exactly I did last time. I've been on a real roll against Reanimator. But I'm just now in the middle of this struggling to think of my exact boarding. But something like this should get the job done. Let's see. Alright, well I'm definitely keeping this. I have the combo, I have Tamiyo to start out on. If I get Thought Seized, I can probably recover pretty well. I just hope I don't get... okay, Thought Seize. I think you probably take Cephalid or Nomads, but maybe they'll take the Tamiyo. Yeah. So now Tamiyo looks really good. Cavern is nice. I don't want Tamiyo to get dazed. I think I should just ponder. Awesome, got some graveyard hate going. I'll put Cauldron on bottom, followed by Swords, and then Macabre. I would love it if they just go for the Entomb Reanimate. Alright, nothing pass is really good. I suspect they have some sort of removal, to be quite honest. And in the face of that, I think it's still just Tamiyo. Maybe I can hold on to it for a turn. Maybe I'll go Tundra and play Nomads. They didn't have a land last turn, so I assume that means they don't have Wasteland, sandbagging it, because you might want to hold up Orcish Bowmasters or something like that. So I assume my non-basics are safe, and I'll probably have that around when it's time to cast Plow. But I kind of want to have Cauldron online maybe before I cast the Tamiyo. Entomb, alright, well, I'm going to brick that game plan. And I will just get rid of 2 cards from their yard and leave the Cephalid. Nice. And now what I'll do is I'll play Cavern of Souls out, name Wizard. And I'll cast the Cauldron around Daze. They could still Daze, because they know I have Tamiyo. Okay, and then I'll play my own Tamiyo. And now things seem pretty safe. They can't reanimate anything anytime soon. They're on 1 land. I assume Tamiyo is going to get Fatal Push, though, sadly. But I can start beefing up my Nomads. Okay, they found the land. And Tamiyo is dead. Very sad. And my Nomads is dead. Yeah, that's fine. If at the end of this they have a Murktide, I can Swords it. I guess I just play out Narcomoeba. There's certainly things that I can use to beef this guy up. Can't say this game plan feels great, but I'll take it. If they have Orcish Bowmasters, they got me, but I am going to take this Tamiyo out. Hedge Maze. I'll go ahead and play the Hedge Maze right now. Another Swords is good. Now, if they do have like a Murktide and I can't get rid of it, another line I have with the Cauldron is to put the Illusionist under it, and then the Narcomoeba can get rid of, or can act as a Mazavith. So it can now do that, and I'll hit it for 3. Sadly, if they do draw a Wasteland, I think the Tundra is the obvious move, unless they have Force of Will in hand. I don't think I'll play out the Trop. Alright, well they must have some combination of like counter spells and reanimation spells that they can't do anything here. Flooded Strand was really nice because now I have another white source and I can Surveil. Maybe I can find my one of Nadu. They could also have Graveyard Hate, and as the board stands now, it almost seems foolish to go for Illusionist. Okay, so they kept a card but are passing. So that could be removal. I'll Surveil on end step. I don't want another land. And I'll go ahead and get the Nomads. This will put them to 1 if they don't have removal. Maybe a Petty Theft. Yeah, that's fine. Ghost Vacuum, sweet. Well, I'll replay Narcomoeba. I'll play out Ghost Vacuum. And I'll say go. I will probably have to Swords the Borrower, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe just pushing 1 damage a turn isn't worth it. End of turn, I'm going to start eating cards out of their yard. Keep them off Murktide, or at least keep them off any sizable Murktide. Thassa's Oracle, not bad. We'll do that now, because my devotion to blue is higher than it might be. This also will strengthen my clock. Would I rather have Cephalid, Illusionist, or Ponder? Honestly, I feel like it might be Ponder. Weird as that sounds. Especially now that I've played out Oracle, so I'll just keep the Ponder on top. Swing with Narcomoeba. If they block with Brazen Borrower, then they trade, and then that's 2 creatures in the graveyard that can wind up underneath the Cauldron. And as soon as Thassa's Oracle gets a +1/+1 counter, or any of these creatures get a +1/+1 counter, then all of these things are back underneath it. So that'll be pretty sweet. See what they surveil away here. Wasteland, sure, I agree, that's not very good. Alright, my opponent just scoops it up. GG's, yeah, I think this was a pretty commanding position. Holding off their graveyard and literally just beating down with 1/1s, and a really beefed up Narcomoeba got the job done. I think Cauldron really showed its worth in this game. I was going to draw that Ponder, and then the 3 cards I would see off the Ponder would probably have done it there, yeah. So that was a really nice showing against the top deck in the format, and a quite strong player at that, playing Dimir Reanimator. I'm on the play for match 2. I have a totally fine hand. I'll start with Tamiyo. Probably just off a basic. I know the swords will not be castable that way, but I always really like having secure mana to start out the game. If they wasteland my Tundra, I can't cast the spells anyway, so let's just play it safe. Another Underground Sea deck, and push right away on Tamiyo. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to force to protect it. This looks like a good time to lay down the Hedge Maze. Yeah, lands are good. If this is Dimir Reanimator, I'm hoping I don't have to force anything this turn. Okay, so Wasteland and not using it reeks of an Orcish Bowmasters, and possibly a Kaito in hand. Like, the value of that Wasteland seems pretty high when I can untap with 3 mana. I wish I could punish it harder than I will. But it's probably correct if they do Bowmaster end step to just force it. And the reason why I say that is that yeah, so I'm just going to force this. If this turns out to be a Reanimator deck, I'll feel very foolish. But I can't kill both the bodies, nor would I want to spend 2 Swords to Plowshares on that card. And if that's keeping Kaito in their hands, then that feels good. Another Wasteland. So they'll probably Wasteland in my upkeep. And now keeping that other land feels pretty good. Okay, they're not Wastelanding me. Very interesting. I do imagine they're probably working their way up to casting Kaito, which is scary since I have basically nothing going on. And I think I'm just going to hang on to all these lands too. Just play out another Flooded Strand. I am flooded. Maybe they're going to play Kaito around Days. Okay, Hedge Maze, so it's probably a Beanstalk deck. Well, that would have been good to know when I forced the Bowmasters. Basic Forest, interesting. Traveling Chocobo. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may play lands and cast bird spells from the top of your library. Yeah, I'm going to be swordsing this guy first chance I get. And I'll go to my turn to do it. Another Swords, okay. So I have all my Swords to Plowshares in hand. I'll get rid of this guy. Maybe they force. No force. Well, I don't feel like I'm going to lose the game to this deck anytime soon, but having some sort of action would be nice. Sure. My opponent fetches after brainstorming. Best combo in Magic. Strix, sure. I'll let this Strix hang around. At this point, I don't think they're a Kaito deck, though I could be wrong. Taze. Oh my god, that had to be probably the single worst card I could have drawn. Another Brainstorm. If my opponent starts wastelanding me, the Days will feel a little better, though they still have 4 mana. Scythe Cat, okay. I have the answer to that. Okay, that's good. See if they crack this. So I take 1. I will surveil on end step. Another land is not what I want. And I'll go ahead and go to my turn rather than letting them get just a little bit more life off of this. Although they'd be wise to put the +1/+1 counter, I think, on the Strix rather than gaining life. All right, Nomads is half a plan. Let's Swords Scythe Cat Cub. I should have done it off of Meticulous Archive, but that's okay. Or, yeah. I should have done it off Meticulous Archive so that they can't wasteland me off white. Okay, they put the counter on the Strix. They're down to 3 cards in hand. Feels okay. My opponent goes to combat, though considered playing something out first. I don't think that will prompt any action from me in any meaningful way. Let's see what they play. Another Scythe Cat. Maybe they'll do a land after that. No land, okay. I'll go to my turn. Another Nomads. I think I'll play out 1 Nomads. And I will pass back to their turn. Actually, I'll Swords now because they have Hardcast Force up and then maybe my Daze could actually catch something. So that's the last Swords I've got. They probably have some sort of removal. Yeah, Bowmaster, that's fine. As long as I can draw Cephalid or Nadu soon, I can put this game away. Their clock is accelerating, though. All right, they're starting to wasteland me. That's fine. I'll Brainstorm. I might win the game because I do it. It would hurt if they have another Bowmaster. Seems like they probably do. Okay, they're letting me Brainstorm. Ugh, that was rough. Put those back. I guess I should have maybe kept 1 Daze. So now I don't have the mana this turn to Nomads, to like Brainstorm again. I think I can just scoop this one up. Alright, so against this deck I definitely like lots of removal. And Flusterstorm seems good. Potentially Cauldron and another land since they are a Wasteland deck. I'm not too keen on the Dazes and the Forces. I'll get rid of 4 of those. I'll trim 1 Cephalid, and I don't think there's room for Cauldron. On the play for game 2. This hand's fine. I'll just play Windswept Heath and say go. Probably Surveil off of it. It'll be an interesting decision if they Thoughtseize me. If I should cast Brainstorm, and I think the answer is just no. Okay, they're playing a tapped land. So I'll fetch Meticulous Archive. And would love to get rid of this Memory's Journey using the Brainstorm. I do like Nadu. Cast Brainstorm. Yikes. Ugh. Now if they wasteland the Meticulous, I'm really screwed. I'll go like that. And I'll play Shuko. Sadly, I think playing Shuko incentivizes them to wasteland me here, so I just have to hope they don't have it. Definitely want to fire off this other Brainstorm, and I think because it's a wasteland deck, I can't afford to have patience. Thoughtseize, okay. They're definitely going to take Brainstorm. I'm still glad I didn't let them take Nadu, but now I have to draw through both cards of my Brainstorm lock. I'll play the Nomads out. Alright, I'll play Nomads. Really will hope to not get wastelanded here for a couple turns. There was a long pause in my draw step, and I don't know if I'm supposed to read that as my opponent just walking away to do something, or if they like had a surgical and were thinking about surgicaling my Brainstorm. Cub, yeah, that's fine. Oh, into a wasteland. Alright, it's going to be a rough one. Nothing I can do. Opponent has a Brainstorm. If they find another wasteland, I'm just so dead. There's no way I'll ever get to cast Nadu. Alright, my opponent has another threat. I can at least ending this one, but this cub's gonna kill me. If I draw land, I'll probably try to end the Scythe Cat. Alright, a land, that's good. Can't really play around anything, I just have to go for this. But any land means I get to cast Nadu, so if they daze this, rather than going after Nadu, that'll feel nice. Awesome. And this is a 1-2, so I don't really have any attacks. But if I don't get wastelanded, I can end this again. And that was a timely basic land, for sure. Wish I could fluster that, though. They'd be able to pay for it even if I could cast it. My opponent shuffles. Another Scythe Cat. And no lands. Cavern, please. Ponder, okay. Yeah, I have to cast Ponder for sure. No lands. 2 swords is tempting, but I just need lands. Alright, I'm going to ending this thing. Spend my mana. Next turn, hopefully I can still brainstorm. My life total is high enough that I have a bit of time. I've drawn acceptably, but not seeing any lands off that Ponder was just rough. Alright, I'm going to get hit for a bunch here. My opponent could also have Orcish Bowmasters, which would be brutal if I have to brainstorm. Still hoping for Cavern of Souls. Alright, let's brainstorm. That was really good. Alright, so I'll get rid of the terrible cards. I'll play this out. I'll plan to swords the cub next turn. And that way if they thought seize me, I can probably still fluster. Chocobo. I think I'll just swords this in response. And I would still like yet another land, because I want to be able to have Flusterstorm backup for Nadu. If I can have Flusterstorm backup, I'm going to feel pretty good about my chances in this game. Take some damage, that's fine. Take some more damage. I'm not dead, am I? So I'll get hit for 7. So, dead next turn. Alright, I'm at 5. I'll fetch down to 4. And I'm definitely going to surveil here. Nope, don't want that. But I'll take it. I'll chump. Alright, let's go. So now even if they have Bowmaster, I can put the damage over here. I'll fetch first, down to 3. Just get a Tundra. Cast Nadu. Alright, wow. I'm surprised they scooped that up there, because even though I think it's quite likely I would win, just the fact that they have a lethal attacker, I think it was really worth letting me go through one time on there, so I'll take it. I think in sideboarding I'm going to keep it the same. I liked having 2 Force of Will, just a little bit in the deck, but not too much, and I don't think any of this stuff was worthwhile, so I'm on the draw for game 3. Very nice hand. I will keep. If they thought seize me, okay, it's Ponder. I suppose if you thought seize, you probably take Shuko. And sadly, I can't actually turn 2 because I have Narcomoeba in hand. But I think this is still just a really threatening hand. Redundant Nadu is great. I'll go ahead and play the Shuko into a daze. I think the plan is to play Cephalid next turn and just see what happens. And then hopefully get to Nadu. I still would love to draw another land, since I won't be able to get to Nadu without a wasteland coming up. So I think in the face of that, I probably go Saga. Nomads, okay. Yeah, let's just play this out. They might want a Bowmaster, so maybe they don't, or it'll at least keep them off a Bowmaster. Seeing as I'm pretty sure they have Bowmaster, I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of killing anything with it. Yep. So I think that was well played. If I did end up having a cantrip, like a Ponder played around days, they can still punish with Bowmaster. Now they might have to burn like a Fatal Push on this Cephalid Illusionist. No additional land. I guess that's why they shuffled that Ponder. Tamiyo. That's just better, right? I don't know. Actually, I'll play Illusionist. It's a bit of a bait. I'll equip here. And they probably are going to Fatal Push right now. Yep. And let's see if I bin anything relevant. So I lost one land, but also Thassa's Oracle is now in the bin. So that works. They still could have Daze. Spellbomb, okay. It's pretty good. Tamiyo will feel nice. They won't be able to attack into the Tamiyo. But I would prefer a land and the ability to cast Nadu. Alright. I think the obvious play here is Nadu. That resolves. And wow. Again, I think that's a bit of a premature scoop, but if they don't have removal, it's not going to be too good. Like, they could crack the Spellbomb next turn and then Fatal Push, and then they would be getting rid of my Oracle. So even though they wouldn't draw a card, they'd be able to shut down the graveyard line. But I don't know what's in their hand. They might not have Fatal Push. And let's see what this Nadu is going to get. Well, sometimes Magic Online won't let you see the cards you draw. It gets a little glitchy, so who knows? But like, this could have just been 2 cards plus a target, and even though I think having redundant Nadu there is going to get the job done, like, they don't know that. So I might have played one more turn again if I was my opponent, but I definitely feel favored here. GG's. I'm on the play in round 3. And I like this hand enough. This Brainstorm's going to have to put in some heavy lifting. I know my opponent said GLHF to them. Yeah, I'll keep. And I'll play the Shuko out. Sadly, if there's a Thoughtseize, I might have to force a will that. Okay. Well, I know this player plays Painter. That's what this is looking a lot like. Yeah, I can't force a will out when they're holding up Pyroblast. Disappointing, though. Maybe the Brainstorm will find a Nomads as well. Memories Journey. Oof, okay, Brainstorm. Well, I'll put back Dread Return, and I'll put back this Shuko. Probably fetch a Surveil land. Memories Journey isn't bad to have, though, against a Painter player. Arid Mesa, so some multicolor strategy. Mishra's Research Desk, sure thing. That's a cool card. If you haven't seen this card, you can get it off of Urza Saga, and then you can exile the top 2 cards of your library, and then choose one of them to play, and then Unearth means you can do it again. It's just like Phyrexian Dragon Engine, but a mini version. I'll Surveil. Love to see Nomads in core. Days, no. And then on my turn, I guess I'm surveilling again. Cavernous Souls, no. I'm really just digging for a combo piece at this point. Hoping that Memories Journey will brick them a bit. Okay, white mana. I always like Painter that splashes white. When I played Painter, I really loved the white splash for Swords to Plowshares. I think that's so powerful. Painter's Servant, okay. Well, I feel quite unfavored from this position, but maybe they grindstone me and I just win. Not loving these lands. And I don't really want to play out Illusionist before the Saga pops, because I don't want them to get graveyard hate. I do want to do whatever I can to convince them to try to kill me here. Nadu. I'll just hold this all up. I don't think they have another Needle, so I'm not gonna Pithing Needle. Like, I'm not gonna fetch in response to Pithing Needle. I don't know, maybe I just will. Be nice to thin my deck anyway. Looks like I'm just gonna get beat to death though by these constructs, so. If that's the plan, I have a couple turns. If they do go for it here, if they have more lands, I just have to make sure one of these Memories Journeys resolves. either the card itself or the flashback. But I think my player is savvy enough to know that you can't just paint or grindstone the Cephalid Breakfast player due to Memory's Journey. They might feel safe with a Pyroblast in hand. Alright, a grindstone has appeared. And I'm taking a whole bunch here. Cast Ponder. Swords. Tamiyo and Saga. That's probably good enough. I'll draw the swords. I'll cast Nadu. And then I'll plan on swordsing a construct and just hope that I can convince them here to tap that grindstone. So I'll swords one. They probably have Pyroblast, but I can force. Hopefully I won't have to double force. I do think because they play white, they're unlikely to have Bolt. So I'll force that, pitch Cephalid. Dang. I think they probably just have me here. But I'll force. I'll pitch the Memory's Journey. Now I can kill the Painter. Like I can't do that. Because I'm on 6 life now. So now I have to chump here. That Needle on Shuko was just killer, actually. I think it would have been incorrect to force it since I couldn't win immediately. Welder, sure. Tamiyo can chump. But then I just draw Saga. That's fine, I'll scoop. And they saw the Memory's Journey get exiled, so they knew they were in the clear. Alright, Painter is a deck where I don't like having the breakfast stuff. And I do like having Graveyard Hate, Needle, all of that. Consign maybe. So I'll start by cutting these cards. With one more cut, I think I'll just take out Consign. Consign I don't think is amazing against Painter. And I like the rest of the deck. Tamiyo, I know there's a lot of blasts and removal, but I find Tamiyo ends up being pretty good. And I definitely want all the removal and Graveyard Hate. I definitely don't want Dazes, actually. I'll get Force of Negation, 1 Consign. Hopefully that gets through there. Flusterstorm, maybe. Could be good. The reason why I don't like Dazes is they can have Simian Spirit Guide, and so you just never know when Daze is going to actually be good. And it always feels like such a blowout if you feel like you're about to Daze a key spell and they just Spirit Guide and pay. This hand looks great. I'm going to keep it. I asked my opponent if they had Force of Will for my, or if they had Pyroblast, if I Force of Willed that Pithing Needle, and they said yes, so it is tough being the Force of Will deck against the Pyroblast deck. I think that's one thing that always makes Painter well positioned against the blue decks is so many favorable exchanges. I would love this Tamiyo to stick, but I don't see really anything better to do. Turn 1. If it eats a Pyroblast and that's what clears the way for Nadu, that's fine. So I'll use it as bait. It might be what wins me the game if they don't blast turn 1. They might Welder turn 1 and I have that answered. I could go Brainstorm, fetch. Alright, well, this is good for them because that means they already have my graveyard covered so that my Memory's Journey is not going to be a relevant card. Maybe I'll get to pitch it to Force of Will again this turn, or this game. Basic Plains, interesting. Well, my Tamiyo probably not surviving here, sure. Another Nadu. I'll cast Brainstorm, hopefully find another land. Nice. Put back Needle. I'll put back the Cauldron, actually. And I'll put back Ponder. And I'll use Needle if they have a graveyard card. And Cauldron, because of Leyline, is not going to be able to like get the Nomads. So I think it's less valuable here. The hope, getting their activated abilities would be nice. And then I think I'll just go Plains, Nomads, and hopefully over the next couple turns, cast a couple Nadus. Maybe the first one will stick. Maybe they'll tap out for a Goblin Engineer or something like that. Saying go. Well, it's probably a Pyroblast. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, that's fine. Could be worse. Yeah, I want to get Nadu down now. I like all the cards in my hand. If they want to answer Nadu, it's going to cost them a card. They're very unlikely to have anything that I absolutely have to answer in the next turn. I mean, they could have really good stuff next turn, but nothing that I'll die to. I like the basic planes from Odyssey Mirror Match. Odyssey was the first new set when I started Magic the Gathering way back when. So definitely a very nostalgic one. Alright, well, I have the needle for that. If they got a creature here, though, Cauldron would have been nice to have. And I bet they do go for a Dragon Engine if I had to guess. Yeah. Regretting my choices a little bit. Okay, well, that was about as good a draw as it gets. Let's use it. And as a consequence, this shuts off their engineer unless they have yet another artifact. Shuko, awesome. And the Ghost Vac. And another land, so I don't even have to choose between Tamiyo and Ghost Vacuum. Alright, this seems kind of wrapped up. I'm just going to play the Ghost Vacuum. I'll let them have the engineer. And, okay, scooping it up. Well, this time I can tell my opponent my top decks were gas this time. So, yeah, I can't complain about that luck. And I'm actually glad they scooped it up a little early because maybe they'll still think Leyline is good. And even though that does shut off my Memories Journey lines, that's not good enough, right, to have this card in. But that also shows why I don't like having the graveyard strategy in with Painter, because not only do they have that, but they have tons of stuff they can get, like Soul Guide Lantern, which is tutorable. Seems like they just have tons of graveyard hate. Alright, I think this time I will run it back with the same thing. Flusterstorm is like kind of cool, but I don't think it hits enough, so I like this hand. Alright, my opponent mulled to 6 and had Leyline, so kind of like a mull to 5. Starting with Saga. And a Soul Guide Lantern. Yikes. Not a very good hand for them, which makes me think they're on a Saga game plan. I'm going to go ahead and get my basic island. I do imagine they have some sort of moon effect somewhere in their deck, which is kind of scary. But I'm just getting the read that I can Needle Urza Saga here. They could also have Painter. Like if they have a Painter and the mana, it's going to get a little scary for a sec. But I'll run that risk. Alright, so a mountain and then no play. So maybe I didn't even need to do that. Although they could also have Flute. Sure. Probably going to hit Nomads. Thankfully my Saga can still get Shuko. I think I'm going to lead on the Ponder and then cast Tamiyo. Those are nice cards. Cast, ooh. I'll take myself off Force of Will for a turn. I don't think there's anything that I'll have to force next turn. I think they might have to get like a Mox Opal, like if they're struggling on mana that bad. But if they do play a Painter, I'm going to feel a little sketchy about this. Yeah, Mox Opal. And Swords, yeah, that's fine. Cracking the Lantern to draw a card, which does take them off Opal. Uh-oh. Okay, they have a Grindstone. One card left. Is it Painter? Not Painter. Alright, well now my Needle and Saga looks comically bad, actually. But I do have Force Blue card. I would hate to pitch my Nadu. And I just want to get this Saga going towards a Shuko. Welder. That's pretty good, but I'll allow it. I think the only thing I could force there was like a Painter. My opponent is making fun of me for my Pithing Needle on Saga. Yeah, that's fair. I like Brainstorm for sure. And I'll probably lead on that. Now they could grind whatever I topped off the top of my deck. That would be a heads up. They're targeting themselves. Ooh, Dragon Engine. That's really good. At least they didn't hit a painter. Alright, so I'll cast the Brainstorm. It's a little bit of bait. Alright, is your other card a Pyroblast? I think I just have to try to turn the corner here. Oh no. Yeah. That's good. Well, I have a Surveil. Another Nadu. Well, I guess I couldn't have asked for anything better. They get to draw 3. Switching out the Flute is cool. And I take some damage here. They could have another blast in hand at this point. Cauldron, that's fine. Alright, well I can't play around any more Pyroblasts or anything. My plan here is I'm going to cast Nadu. They're going to Flute, naming Shuko. And I'm going to cast Nomads. Yep. I'm prepared to punish this line, provided they don't have like a Swords in hand. Well, if they let me Brainstorm last turn, maybe I would have gotten rid of my Nomads, but here we are. Hopefully I get a blue card, like if they do Swords. If I top deck a blue card, I'm going to feel in business. Well, my opponent's thinking hard here. I think it's correct for them to name Shuko for what it's worth. Like, you see it on board. Like, maybe they feel like they can beat that. Chosen card is Shuko. Sure. I'll play on my land. And I'll play Nomads. Alright, well now I can keep up with the Dragon Engine, but they're the ones who can instant kill me if they draw the right card. So definitely a reason for concern here. I am looking for Graveyard Hate or removal, or I could just pull all the lands in my deck. I'll get basic plains. Keep the party going. We'll just love a blue card. Okay, there's a blue card, though it's really tempting to play that Tamiyo. Another Saga. Yeah, I think I just have to play the Tamiyo. I'm really digging for Graveyard Hate, and I'm going to get another blue card before I have to cast Force of Will, because they clearly have nothing for this turn. Ending is great. Okay. So I'm just going to ending the Goblin Welder. And they're never going to resolve a spell. One of the top 8 cards is going to be a blue card to pair with Force of Will. So I think this is looking pretty good. Well, they're surveilling. They've already said GG's, but we are still playing here, so got to keep focused. I love this Cauldron mirror match that we're in. Binning Portable Hole. Probably a little late for Portable Hole. Well, let's see. Another land. If they have a painter, it'll be scary. This looks like Dragon Engine, which I probably can't do anything about because I don't have Macabres. So this is fine. I wonder if Leyline of the Void was their last card in hand. I guess those were cards in their hand. What am I saying? That's how Dragon Engine works. But I said yikes after that. There's probably a couple of ley lines. 3 lands. Oh. Hopefully I'll draw Thassa's Oracle pretty soon. I can put them out of their misery. Yeah, this does seem pretty wrapped up. I'll probably take the damage here. I don't think it's worth losing any of my creatures. All right, well, we're cruising here at 3-0. I'm on the play in round 4 against an opponent who I suspect is on Storm. This hand is not going to be good enough. I'll put it back. This hand kind of sucks too. I'll mold a 5. Alright, I can keep this. I'll bottom Nadu and 1 Illusionist, and hopefully Force of Will be what bridges me to a quick combo. I don't need another Nomads. Duress, pretty killer. He can't take any of my combo pieces. But obviously, I'm not looking too hot here. They take the Brainstorm. Hedge Maze. Well, Nadu. I'll keep the Nadu. If I have to force something this turn, Nadu is an acceptable thing to draw afterwards. I'll obviously need another land, but I think that's above average of what I could expect. Hopefully I won't have to force this turn. Duress, yeah. Well, one of us is probably dead here. Oh, dang. Well, I can play around that if I get a turn. So I'll play this out. Could be a chance that it's not Storm. Nile Spellbomb's kind of a weird card, but I've played against this guy a lot, and it's always like ad nauseum tendrils, so. Yep. Alright. My opponent has 4 cards left in hand. Plenty of opportunity to... Okay, they're cracking this to draw a card now. Wow. Surprising, actually. I wonder if they are prepared to like go off. Maybe they realize I have Memory's Journey and that that's really not going to get the job done long term. Let's see. Maybe they have another one. Yep. Or they probably just needed okay, another one of these. And then they probably just beseech. Yeah. They duress me. Yeah, I'll F6. Wow, okay, I'm getting a turn. Well, I'll go to combat. Swing. And then I think with 2 cards... I don't know. I don't know if they had Beseech as the last card. But I think I'm supposed to combo off here. And Memory's Journey back. My last card. Doing it now keeps them off of drawing a card. Now this is a situation against Nile Spellbomb where it's very important that it's Nomads instead of Shuko, because the instant speed is very crucial. Notice I milled the Thassa's Oracle first, and if it was Shuko they could have just gotten rid of it right then if they wanted to. But now I can mill my deck in response, find Memory's Journey. So I want to mill all the cards from my library, guarantee Thassa's Oracle is coming next. Cast Dread Return, targeting Thassa's Oracle. I just have to make sure Illusionist is one of the creatures that dies. They crack this. I get back Oracle. Target myself, target Thassa's Oracle. And then I lose my whole deck. I don't think I'll play out Nomads. Doesn't really matter. It's really just going to come down to whatever it is they have this turn. And if they did have Beseech, I'm super glad that I took them off Spellbomb. That way they can't bargain. Awesome. Got game 1. So against Storm, I definitely like this whole column of blue cards. And possibly Macabres as well. I assume if they are on Beseech, then they probably have Gaia's Will, and then Fairy Macabre is pretty good. And the cards I want to cut, oops, I want to cut these Swords to Plowshares. I keep hitting that Daze. Get rid of the Swords, get rid of Plains, and then I think just the 4 Tamiyo. Tamiyo could be nice, but also is kind of slow. I would rather just force their first thing that I need to force and then untap and win. It's typically how sideboard games go. At least the ones that I win. Well, they're keeping 7. I have a turn 2. I can hold up Consign as well or Ponder. Storm decks typically don't go off turn 1, so I'm going to keep. If I get Thoughtseize, I still have plenty of things that I can do. If they Thoughtseize, I think the clear take is Nomads. Yep. Alternatively, if they think they could beat Consign, they could take Ponder. How they play this should definitely inform my next turn. Alright, they took Nomads. Do I think they could beat me next turn if I tap out? Possibly. I think it's just Consign. I'll be respectful of what they're capable of doing. I'll feel bad if they just like Thoughtseize me and say go. Ponder is fine. Did not shuffle. LED. It's a nice card to consign. I think I'll consign that, yeah. If their remaining 3 cards can be me, so be it. Yeah. Yep. Beseech, yeah. Guys will, and then they can just win the game from here, yeah. I don't know, maybe I was supposed to hold up consign. They can't win until the consign is out of my hand, right? So, anyway, game 3 is the same game plan. I'll make no changes. I don't like this hand, I'm gonna mull. I'll keep this. Bottom 1 land. I'll keep the Narcomoeba around because that could be a card I pitch to force a will. And I will ponder, hopefully find a force. This could end up being like Construct Beatdown. This is probably good enough. Hopefully Days can hold down the fort for just a little bit. Chrome Mox. Thoughtseizing me now. Yeah, if they want to take my Days, like if I Daze this spell, they basically took the Days, but I'm down a land. Now if they can win right now, that's going to stink, but... And maybe they can. Well, sure playing like it. Bummer. Yeah, you got me. They're going to get... Guy as well, just do it all over again. Yeah, I don't need to sit through it. Good games. Alright, I'm on the play for the last round. I don't love this hand, but I think I'll keep it. I think I'll start off with Meticulous Archive so that I have forced blue card. I don't know, in the blind it's probably better to just start with Tamiyo. I'll see. I'll see how they resolve their mulligans. Alright, they're on 6. I'll just play the Archive. I don't need another land. Sadly, if they Thoughtseize me, I'm going to lose access to Force of Will anyway. They'll probably take Tamiyo. Though, I guess it really just depends. Alright, they have a tapped land as well. I'd love to see a blue card. Cool. The worst blue card in my deck, but any blue card is totally fine here. I'll play Tamiyo. Okay, I'm going to have to read this card. Cast with Warp. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless drone. So they're about to cast a lot of artifacts and make a lot of 1/1s, and then this thing's going to die. That's fine. If I flip my Tamiyo, I didn't think about how like they might be able to just block. Presumably they're going to have cast at least 1 or 2 more artifacts here. I have played against this deck once before. I know Strifo was playing it. And I did win that match, but there was some shocking turn of Thoughtcast. I'll force Thoughtcast. If they don't have any other artifacts, and I'm guessing they don't, then they really didn't get a lot off that exchange. I could tell they didn't have any more artifacts, because like, I don't know, if they had any other mana sources, they wouldn't have played around Days, and or they would have played around Days. I get a Hedge Maze. No, that's not good when Dread Return is in hand. Saga, that's nice. I'll play Saga. Make a clue. I feel really ahead. I doubt it's a Thoughtseize deck, so I'll crack the clue now. Shuko. I'll cast Shuko now. Equip Tamiyo. They have a Saga. Well, their constructs are going to be better than mine, that's for sure. And they have an Emery, which gets a Bobble. So they have the combo assembled here to draw 2 a turn. Of course, I can also draw 2 a turn with Tamiyo. I have to decide if a construct or a card in hand is better in the next turn. Ugh. So I've drawn both Narcomoebas after Dread Return already in hand. I'll play out a land, and I probably do need to draw the card. The construct's not going to be very impressive. Yep, they get a bobble back, they cast it, they target me. And I really need to hit this turn because I think that that Saga is very likely to needle Shuko. Alright, I did hit. And a Ponder, it's also a good pickup. So I can't really play around Metallic Rebuke. I'll cast Ponder, see if I can get a Force of Will. No Force. I could Brainstorm and put these awful cards back. And then I still have a land drop. Yeah, I'll put these back. Tamiyo flips, which actually does kind of suck. Get Savannah. Cast Nadu. And they force. Well, sadly, their constructs will probably be big enough to just kill Tamiyo. So if they have main deck Needle, I think the correct play is to Needle Shuko after you attack Tamiyo. But maybe they go for like Graveyard Hate. Or maybe they go for Boots, some line designed to kill me. Okay, they went for the Boots. Yeah, I guess they just have lethal though. Yeah, you got me. Cool. What was I going to draw next? Well, it won't show me. Alright, against this deck, I definitely like removal for Emery, Cavern, Needle, and maybe this Graveyard Hate. I think they're likely to get around Daze. Tamiyo might be too slow, though it's good against a bunch of 1/1s. I think I need to leave the Plains in because they might have Harbinger. I just don't know this list like super duper well. Actually, I'm just going to guess that they have Graveyard Hate and that they're going to overreach on that. So I'll take out the Cephalid combo and I'll bring in Consign. I'll take out Oracle and have Flusterstorm. I think that seems like a good plan. Sure, I'll keep this. Gonna rely on this Brainstorm to do some work for me, but Prismatic Ending will be really good. I'll play a Flooded Strand, say go. Probably get a Meticulous Archive on end step. My opponent mulled the 6. And turn 1 Saga. I don't need another land. Cavern is really nice. I hope to see a Shuko or a Nomads. Okay. Awesome. Plow, also a nice pickup, and I'll just get rid of some of these lands. Get rid of those two. I'll go ahead and get a basic Plains. And I think this is the time to play Nomads because if they want to answer it, it'll disrupt their construct plan, and I'm just getting ahead of a Pithing Needle. I think if I get 8 Nadu flips before their first Needle, I'll be alright. Hoping they're just playing out cards to have Mox Opal. Yeah, looks like it. Though they're certainly holding up mana to do some sort of interactive play. Shuko. Well, that'll be a nice follow-up for the inevitable needling of Nomads. They could also have Flute right now, or removal or something. Sink into Stupor, returning this to my hand. That's okay. That keeps them off a construct. Still really annoying though. Now I am super thankful to have Shuko. Sure. I think they have to get Needle. Thought cast is pretty good. They're gonna bobble me. Alright, so I feel like the better play here is beginning with the Prismatic Ending. And I should have done it before I played the land. Because now they know that I have Nadu coming. Okay, they just scoop. But yeah, I think that was a poor sequencing because there's a slight chance that they would, like if they had Force of Will, that they would not have spent it if they thought they had another turn to untap. And let's say they have some sort of removal spell that they can't cast currently. for nomads. Maybe they think they can get away with that. So definitely a sequencing error on my part. For game 3, I think I'll stick with these cards. There's some consideration to maybe switching out Daze for Force of Negation. And I think maybe I'll do a 1-of swap. Alright, I'm on the draw with an unexciting but totally fine hand. Hopefully they don't have too crazy a start. Alright, my opponent keeps 7 for the first time in the match, so will I. And they have their slowest start of the match, so that's nice. Another swords, that's pretty good. I'll start on a ponder though. Yep, I like that. I'll put archive on bottom, followed by island, and I'll draw Nadu. Alright, they have a saga. And the emissary. So presumably, alright, Soul Guide Lantern's kind of a dead card. Bobble's good. I can beat a bunch of 1/1s. I have plows for the constructs. So they see my island. I think I have to go Shuko here, which sucks because I don't really want to draw. I don't know, maybe I can go Hedge Maze, Shuko. I don't know if there's anything I would need to plow in the next turn. I think that's pretty unlikely. Yeah, I'll do that. Like the worst creature I think they could put into play next turn would be an Emery, and I can still swords it before it untaps, if that seems important. They have Needle, sure. They must not have another land though. Boots, yeah, that's fine. Ooh, and a Kappa. That's pretty good. Well, I can race it. If I can, Tamiyo's nice. So let's start with Ponder. Not good enough. I'll cavern out the Tamiyo, and I'll swords the huge construct that they are inevitably going to put into play. I definitely need to equip the Shuko, don't want to miss that. Oh, Shuko is Needled, oops. Yeah. Alright, they make a construct. I have to take 6 damage here. I can work my way up to the ward 4 though, in a couple turns. I might be dead by then. It looks like they're going to use the mana to kill my Tamiyo. Sure. Okay. And I'll swords in response here. And I take a whole bunch of damage. Show me a Nomads. Force of Will. Well, I think I'm supposed to cast Nadu. And I won't even cast it counterably, since they have no cards in hand. And next turn I can pay for the ward 4. Although if they equip here, I think I would equip there if I were them. Just because they wouldn't be able to attack with these things anyway. Yep. So now awkwardly it's ward 1 plus ward 4. And I'm not going to block. Another Nadu. Well, I should have blocked. I'll name Wizard. Hopefully they don't have an artifact for next turn. Now they can attack with the 1/1s too, though. It could have been correct to swords my own Nadu. Alright, so now that thing can't be blocked. I can go up to 6. Yeah, they got me. Let's see what I would have hit. Nothing. Alright, they got me. GG. Well, starting 3-0 in a league and finishing 3-2 is pretty disappointing, I have to say. All the matches were pretty close. The losses were close. Honestly, the most dominant match was actually against Dimir Reanimator. So that was a nice thing to see. That felt like a victory, even though some of the match wins didn't really come through. As far as the list goes, it feels good. I've been seeing a lot of people going to 3 Tamiyo instead of 4, and I would like to try that. I think there's probably some argument to that. Maybe going up a Daze, going up a Prismatic Ending in the main deck. Certainly seems like that could be a way to go. But it feels really strong. I feel like my win percentage is pretty good with this deck, and I always feel confident. Still just loving the high Tamiyo density in the main deck. It adds such a dimension to the deck that I think was missing before, and now it just feels like everything must be answered immediately, or the game can spiral out in some direction. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.